This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
A happy Thanksgiving, and welcome into another episode of Booth Review. What's up, everybody? I'm Kent Swanson, here with my guy, Brandon McAnderson. B-Mac, how you doing, my friend?
I am excellent. It's turkey week. It's a turkey extravaganza, and I don't even like turkey, but I like the fellowship and I like the family, so can't wait.
Wait, hold up. We don't like turkey here? Like what? Explain.
It's not that I don't like turkey. I would just say that turkey is very mid. That's how I would describe it. I know there's some turkey traditionalists out there that are coming for my neck, including my mother. I see you, Mom. But I'm not way into turkey like that. Give me some ham. Give me some prime rib. I'm a little fancy.
Well, about like a little brisket. You like a little brisket?
Come on. Now you're speaking my language. Come on.
I'm cooking the brisket for the family this year. So I'm going to my parents' house, but I'm cooking the brisket this year. So okay. I'm kind of excited about it. Yeah, I got it dry brined and ready to go. Man, how you feeling after that loss? How you feeling after that game? Just I want to get your emotions. You were in the booth for the last time as we know it. Just everything. How'd it go? How'd you feel? How you feeling now?
Man, it was like a movie. There was like these huge moments. There were these early pressure points and tests, that it was like, hey, can you pass this test? And it was just, it was honestly the most special environment I've ever experienced in Memorial Stadium as a player or a fan. I just think it was louder. It was more electric. I've mentioned this many times as, learning to win is tough. It's just a tough thing to do. And I went through that as a player in 2006. And I would say that the difference is that in 2006, we were close to the peak of what we were going to be. Mm-hmm. This team is no ways near the peak of what it's going to be. So I think it's funny, that you look back on it and all the opportunities that they weren't able to capitalize on. And one of the questions that was basically asked to everyone is asked to everyone on the staff, is the gap closing? There is no gap. Player for player, that was an even game. And I can make an argument that last year, player for player was an even game, to a certain point. So it's, the gap question has bothered me. But other than that, I think that I feel really good about it. I feel really good about Cole Ballard and his development and his future. I feel really good about any plays that Torrey Loughlin's in. And I feel really good about Devin Neal, who has, I could talk about him for hours about what he has become as a player and what he has meant to this university.
Yeah, obviously it sucked to lose, and I think Kansas lost that game, right? Like I think Kansas made some critical mistakes in that game that really gave Kansas State an opportunity to win it. I thought Kansas largely outplayed Kansas State, which was really a encouraging, fun thing to watch. And I know we're belaboring the third string quarterback thing a little bit, but I mean, they dominated stretches of that football game with a freshman quarterback making his literal first start in college, just been on scholarship for a couple weeks, came in as a walk-on, did some good things, but I obviously it sucked. And I wanted to win that game, and I wanted to see Kansas win that game, and it would have been fun to send the booth out against Kansas State in a win. But, man, I'm just having a hard time being too down because I'm just so continually impressed with this program and what they've done and how much the gap is gone. The gap does not exist. This is a good football team within the state of Kansas that can go blow for blow with Kansas State and will be going blow for blow with Kansas State for a long period of time. And we'll get theirs. And we'll start winning this game. I'm optimistic. I know after watching this team and this group and this program and what they did to rally behind Cole Ballard and what they did, to play a collective, strong football game. Yeah, there was some mistakes and some crucial moments and some frustrations. And we'll talk a little bit about them, I'm sure. But I have a hard time being too down because I think about what's coming back next year. I think about the future of this program. I think about the recruiting classes they've been able to redshirt, develop, and get physically ready, where years prior they had to throw a bunch of young kids to the fire, and now they get to development physically maturity. Like, I'm just over. I don't know why I came out of this. I'm frustrated, obviously. Frustrated, but there's just a lot of optimism for me after this week.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to me, so I was optimistic when I woke up this morning. But just about the football part of it, there's a lot to be optimistic about. There's little things that happen within the game. Cable Dude's been dealing with a lower leg injury. He ends up not being available. And then Armage just plays right tackle. He plays it well. And I mean, that's what I mean. Like, there's just, like Cole Ballard. Like I've mentioned the other young quarterbacks that have been thrust into duty. They've not played like that. They've not played that kind of a poised football game. They've not played. Like, he made mistakes and recovered from them in real time over and over again. I just don't think that's not normal. It's not normal to see a guy, he has the fumble when he's running the football, but he runs the football confidently for the rest of the game. He takes a chance, throws it high, gets an interception. He throws the ball down the field with confidence the rest of the game. I think he's just a unique player, and it speaks to the staff and the strength of the team and the strength of the pieces around them. But it also speaks to like what makes JD so special is that you see the flashes of Jason Bean, you see the flashes of Cole Ballard over and over again in these different ways. But the difference with Jalen is it's just there all the time. So that premium level of quarterback play that each person can reach, on occasion and maybe often, but that's the standard for Jalen. And that's what you got to appreciate about, having him back in the fold next year.
Kansas rushes for 234 yards in the game. Just absolute dominance in the run game. Devin Neal looked unbelievable. That's like when NFL teams if NFL teams watch that tape, that's the tape people are going to pay. That's the best game of Devin Neal's career. He was outstanding. I think his vision, his anticipation, his quickness he was a little quicker than he's been. He's a little faster than he's been. He had great anticipation, second, third level. I mean, I don't even know to talk to you about this, B-Mac. But I mean, you've been a back. I just thought this was the best. I thought this was the best game of Devin Neal's career, honestly.
You know what? I can make an argument that Devin Neal has played the best game of his career every game since OU. I thought OU was my favorite game that he played just because he was doing all the shifts, but the shiftiness, the making people miss, the breaking tackles, but it wasn't resulting in these 80, 30, 40-yard runs. It was 5, 12, 7-yard runs. He coupled those together with the 20 carries and made 100 yards. Iowa State, he was effective again. That's probably one you throw out because they were so dominant in the box. But then you come back to Texas Tech. He's the spark of the game. He's the big play guy. He's able to slash and get them back into the game. This game, he did everything. Pass pro. There was the zone lead to Highshaw near halftime where he got a 12-yarder. The lead blocker on that play, Devin Neal. And it wasn't no position block. It was a left shoulder, left foot, boom, driving a guy. I think he's reached a level that I've only ever seen one other Big 12 player reach. I'm not counting Bijan Robinson because he was something different. But Breece Hall had this thing where if you were a second-level player and you were in the hole, you'd never tackle him. I mean, it just never happened. And that was every game I saw him play. Devin has reached that point to where it doesn't matter what player it is. It could be a linebacker. It could be a safety. It could be a defensive lineman. They can't get him on the ground. That's another NFL skill where they're going to see that because they know there's going to be free guys in the box often. And he's shown that he has more than one tool to take care of that problem.
Offense, 234 yards on the ground, 396 yards total to Kansas State's 331. I think that's a compliment to the Kansas offense and also to the Kansas defense as well. It was kind of funny. There was this really handsome guy last week talking about using Torrey Loughlin in the Wildcat. I don't know if you remember. I can't remember his name, but he just talked about I think it was probably Springer.
Yeah.
But that was a fun wrinkle. I wondered if you might see that a little bit. Obviously, like talking about like a little bit last week. I wondered if you might see that just because he's got the understanding of pitch relationship, like we've talked a little bit about. He's got the ability to run the football effectively. I thought Torrey Loughlin did great playing, kind of in that little Wildcat role.
Yeah.
And I think that was just a smart little way to kind of alleviate some pressure from Cole Ballard a little bit. But you saw, I think Torrey Loughlin, I think he averaged about 5 yards per carry when he was running the ball, and I think he made a couple good decisions, when he actually was forced to pitch the ball. So I thought it was a fun little wrinkle. It was a good job by them, kind of getting him involved in that capacity.
Yeah, I mean, he was incredible. There's never a Torrey Loughlin game plan that I'm going to argue with. I like when he's involved all the time. What I really like about what Kansas does with their quarterback shifts is it does make it hard to defend the quote-unquote Wildcat, because it's not a pre-snap alignment. And there is often pre-snap alignments where Cole Ballard is not even lined up at quarterback. So you don't even get the benefit of what you would normally get, right? I can play a heavy box. I know exactly what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But there's sets out there where Sevion Morrison's out there, Torrey Loughlin's out there, Devin Neal's out there, and 2 tight ends. It's like a 32 personnel. But they're running spread concepts. So, I mean, it is just, they talk about being the most stressful offense in America. That is a really good example of why and how, because now you have to find the players, then you got to get them on the ground, because Torrey Loughlin is a very good player, a very good runner of the football, but he can also run routes. So you can't just not guard him. They don't have any decoys. Everybody that plays in those positions can do something. I think that's what makes it really difficult to defend.
Absolutely. You've got just and like we talk about Torrey Loughlin, and I spent a lot of time last year talking about Torrey Loughlin because I just love, like, and I think we talked about, like, in the Illinois game too, like, there's not very many players like him that can run, as a direct snap player and run the option, run the ball on a traditional carry, run a vertical route out of the backfield and catch the ball over his head, away from his frame. Like, he's just got a very unique skill set, and it's just the unique skill set is just good football player. And it was so fun to see him kind of just get to show a little bit more of that diversity, because, man, he's been one of my favorite players to watch. Hey, Home Field's Black Friday sale starts November 17th, just so you know. It's already started. We're already in the middle of it. The sale ends November 26th. You get 20% off the entire site with code Black Friday. So you can rock the merch like this that I'm rocking, this Kansas hoodie. They've got all kinds of great KU football stuff, all kinds of great KU basketball stuff, so you can be repping throughout the year, whatever sport, whatever season you're in. Make sure you're going to Home Field using promo code Black Friday to take 20% off the entire site and off of your order. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Feel free to leave a 5-star review on the channel. Helps us grow KC Sports Network, KU stuff. Helps more Jayhawk fans find our content. B-Mac, I thought Andy Koldnicki was in his bag this week too. I thought he had an absolutely great game plan. We talked a little about some of the wrinkles with Loughlin, the pre-shifts, the pre-snap stuff to try to help, keep the direct snap stuff fresh. I thought the first play out of the half on the little play to the Mason Fairchild was absolutely crucial in Kansas being in the position that they were in. I thought Andy Koldnicki had an absolutely great game plan dialed up for this game.
Absolutely. He's a guy that, his A+ is as good as anybody in the country.
Yeah.
And his, he doesn't get much lower than that on a regular basis anyway. But I liked how he used misdirection. I liked how he used his motions and shifts. I liked how they used the backs. I don't know about you, but man, I love seeing 28 out there. He's Sevion. He's big. He's sudden. He's got great hands. He's a taller, slender guy, so he can run routes. On that play, I thought it was Doug Emillion. From my angle, he looked just like him. So I like the versatility to get all those backs involved. I love that. I love the player that Kobe Bain is becoming. I know we don't talk about him much, but with the injury to Cable being able to have a guy that already plays regularly, you don't skip a step at all. And then Armage and Pooney at tackles was a delight. I mean, for the offensive line lovers in the house, that was a delight just because of height, length, athleticism. It's funny. You see big teams and you see big guys, and nobody's bigger than Armage.
No,
you walk down there. There's just no one bigger. He's bigger than everyone in some kind of way. his physicality and presence and his ability to pop out and play tackle was awesome. It's just a team that is growing in all these beautiful ways, and you can see, what's coming behind it, especially on the offensive end.
Yeah, I for sure. And I thought the offensive line had a great game. It was fun to the option game was just working, period. Cole Ballard involved too. One thing, it seemed like KU had K-State beat by alignment with some of their option stuff. Just like I think they were running some stuff to the field maybe they hadn't prior, and they just had some option plays that were just not covered by K-State well at all. And they were they hit it a couple times, and some big plays came out of it.
Yeah, it's been the secret negative effect on the run game. And what do you mean negative effect? This team's like top 10 in the country. But I think that's what I mean by negative effect. So these angles that they've had them all season. It's just that Jason is not really good at, he strings out the option for his own team. So that it ends up being that the numbers aren't in favor. But when he does hit it, it's like Texas, where he damn near scored. So those numbers have been there, and they've been there because they're so good at everything else. If they're just as good at option as they are at outside zone, which they are, they're just as good as the pinch and pull off tackle runs, which they are. It's just that the quarterback injuries have not allowed them to really get into option football. They just haven't been able to do it. But I think the difference this game was you use Torrey Loughlin because Torrey Loughlin's good, but it also takes those hits and those reps off of Cole. So he's not getting the physicality of the reps, but you can see Cole's an effective option runner too. So then you have that wrinkle. So you also know that Bean was available in some capacity. So maybe you are a little bit less concerned about Cole getting nicked up. So that's really the first time this year where Kansas has had two quarterbacks they felt comfortable with going in, and you saw the option wreak havoc on a defense that was giving up like 61 yards a game on the ground over the last 4 games. A team that per the analytics, points per drive was number 1 in the Big 12. You watch Kansas in the first half with a touchdown, start the second half with a touchdown, and really just drive 75 plus yards with relative ease.
Yeah. And I mean, just, made some mistakes down in the red. Made a mistake down the red that kind of put them in a situation they were going to probably put some more points on the board. I liked, and we can talk about that. They get down. I liked the decision to go for it on fourth down. I know some people are going to debate the kick, but I think when you get down there, you got to take some chances. I will say this, my coach's staff used to say, quarterbacks make their money on third down in the red zone. And those are two areas where your quarterback has to, you've got to be quick. You've got to be quick. You got to be decisive. You got to make good choices with the football. And I think Cole Ballard played a very good game. I think, obviously there were some mishaps for sure. Don't get me wrong. But, I thought he did some really good things that I think show you why the reports out are, his teammates love him. His teammates are going to rally behind him. That touchdown throw was incredible.
It was.
That is a tough football player making that throw. I know it was wide open, but he was standing there taking a hit and finding that guy in the back line of the end zone. That's a football player kind of play, right? That's, and so he made some mistakes, and he was a tick slow. He's still working to process through some things, and you can watch him kind of doing that. I think his internal clock is just a little slow still, right? He's got to be a little bit more decisive about when he steps up and runs. Some of these things that they just take time.
Yeah,
they just take time. They take reps. They take live bullets in dealing with that. And so I thought there was just a lot of things in Cole Ballard's tape that should have KU fans excited that he's in the building. Now, I think KU's always going to be trying to recruit over a guy like Cole Ballard. And that's not dissing Cole Ballard. I just, they've got a lot of talented quarterbacks. They've got a talented quarterback coming in this year, and they got Jalen Daniels back next year. But you're going to be thrilled that Cole Ballard's a Jayhawk for the next 3 years, because he's going to step in some big moments for this team, and he's going to win them some football games down the road. And I don't know if he'll ever be the starter. I don't know how long it's going to take for him to be the starter, but you're going to be excited about having him on this roster. Kind of the same way you are about Jason Bean. I actually think I think he can be better than Bean when it's all said and done. Not the kind of a runner, but I think just the kind of football player he is, he's the kind of guy you're going to win some football games if you need to.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that people don't realize about Cole is that he's 6'2", he's about 225. So the reason that he's playing as a freshman is because he's physically prepared to play. Yeah. So this isn't an accident. If he was 6'2", 175 pounds, he wouldn't be playing. So this is a lot about his physical ability and his maturity to be ready for a moment like this. And what I'll say about him is that, even you mentioning, people, recruiting around them or getting better players, which they are, of course, going to always look to improve that position. I've got no concerns about him and the work that he's going to put in, because we've seen a lot from him. But how about that fastball on 3rd and 8 to Luke Grimm on that comeback? I didn't know he had that. He probably has a lot of things that I don't know he has.
He has more than I thought there. He has more than I thought there for sure.
I mean, that was a real fastball. So I'm thinking, okay, that's pretty good. To throw outside the numbers on the money like that on a high pressure down. So I'm with you that this guy is going to be in the fold for the Jayhawks for years to come in some really special ways that might have some really big moments. I would not be surprised if we're looking up 2 years with Cole Ballard being the starter.
I won't put it past him. I think I will not put it past him because I think there's something about him. He's a football player. He goes about it the right way. He gives great effort. He's smart. Like, coaches are going to love it. There's a reason a true freshman walk-on saw the field. Yeah. You're right. And it's physically, but it's also just he does some things that are very, he does some things that, he's still a young kid, but man, he just also just does some things that are it's above his years. Yeah. You're beyond his years. I know he threw 2 picks, but I feel like he did some just really smart winning plays things throughout the game. And just his ability to command the huddle, command the offense. We talked about this last week. Stepping in, I'll tell you, look, stepping in as a backup quarterback is is a very difficult thing to do. And if you've got someone that can step in, that can run the offense, that can do everything that was on the call sheet and can do what's asked, that's big. And, you saw them last week. They had a couple little wrinkles with their snap count that they tried to mix some things up, right? They'll look back to the sidelines, but it's really just a fake quick, it's a quick snap and little things like that. They're still running all that stuff with their backup 3rd string, freshman quarterback. And so they have a lot of trust in him. It's obvious. And I'm really looking forward to watching Cole Ballard's development. And I'm glad he's on scholarship because he's absolutely earned it. Let's move to the defensive side of the ball. We spent a lot of time talking on offense. Obviously, hey, early struggles, first possession of the game, give up a touchdown. But man, they gave up 6.9 yards per pass, 4.5 on the ground, 323 yards of total offense, 1 turnover. I thought the offense was I thought the defense played really well. I think the defense did some really good things in that game. Some short fields hurt them a little bit. But I walked away feeling good about that defense. Same thing, both sides of the ball. Walked away feeling good about them too.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much everything I just said about Devin Neal, there was few doubt in that stadium that he was the best player on the field every time he was on it. Mm-hmm. The same could be said for Austin Booker. He had a series of about 7 plays in a row that Kansas has not had a player impact a game like that from that position since Charlton Keith. They've just not had a player consistently interrupt everything. And if you remember, Charlton Keith was really good at slithering around and getting tackles for loss in the run game. And then on your big pressure passing downs, you had to give him attention. Austin Booker has reached that point now to where on 3rd down, he needs all the attention. And then on the rundowns, he's making plays. And he's not just making tackles. These are impact, big hit tackles like over and over again. Sometimes he's folding in, making play. And it's like, what I liked about it wasn't just about how he turned it on. It was when he turned it on. It was 27-24. The game was on the line and he became an animal. Now he ran out of gas and that was the fumbled punt and all, and that was the drive that ended up being the touchdown. I did think he ran out of gas, but you're talking about a guy who captured that moment. He took it. He took it and he gave it to his team. Kansas was about to have the ball at midfield with a chance to put that game away. I just really appreciated that level of defender because I don't remember when the last time we had one. I think it goes all the way back to Charlton Keith.
I've been on the bandwagon that I think he's a Sunday player. I think there's some more physical development for him to make. I think he's got another level of physical development that he can achieve, and that's not diminishing him in his frame already, but I think there's more that they can add to that frame, still maintain the flexibility, athleticism, all that good stuff. I think he is an impact defensive player. I think he's one of those guys that if you're paying attention, if the right people are paying attention in the voting for some of these all conference stuff, he's gonna get some attention. He's gonna get some attention this year for what he's done. I've been so impressed with him, and there's definitely he'll try to slip. He's definitely got more trying to slip and elude on some stuff here or there to try to make some plays, but you need that you need negative plays, and there's sometimes he'll get out of a gap here or there, but I mean, it's at the expense of getting some negative plays for this team. And that's one thing I just really, you're right. They need a little bit of that. And he definitely brought it. He definitely brings that team. There's so much to be thankful for: family, friends, food, Kansas Jayhawks, and NFL football all week long. DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping your Thanksgiving week full of action. New customers can bet just $5 on the NFL action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets. No matter your appetite, there's something for you. Money lines, parlays, props, live bets, and so much more. You name it, they've got it. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. You can use code KCSN. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL Thanksgiving action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, with code KCSN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, must be 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. I think there's a couple what-ifs that we're probably going to be talking about on the defense, BMAC. I'm not going to get to in the rest. I think the rest were bad. I don't think we need to belabor that. Obviously, that holding call on the fourth down, the first possession, I think, of the game for K-State, they get in the red. That was a terrible call. It was a horrible call. I think the what if we're going to be talking about a lot, though, is the pick six that KU had a chance on. Rich Miller make great play to jump, like a slant and make a quick house call. I think they'll put them up 18.
That was like 34-16 at that point.
Go put them up 18. I feel like that was obviously a moment that you're going to be thinking about for a while. But, man, I know it sucks to lose, and there's some of the little things you're going to kick yourself about, but these are also college kids doing, playing hard, playing well, playing good football. There's so much good to take away from it. But yeah, there's a what if there for sure with that pick six.
Yeah, and it wasn't just that moment; it was the play after too, resulting in that 35-yard run and getting him from being backed up, which they were Will Howard was not comfortable. At that point in the game, would have been nice to keep them pinned back and have him face another third down, and they were able to get out of it. And that's kind of been what Will Howard has done during the year is he's given the ball away.
Yeah,
and there were a few opportunities. One was the I think Kobe's eyes, he had the pass interference going towards the bowl where his eyes just lit up. He just ran through the guy's back. I had a really good angle on that. I think he thought he was going to intercept that ball. And he got a little overzealous and ran through the guy's back. It was an obvious penalty. But Howard will allow you those opportunities, and the teams that beat Kansas State take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah.
And Kansas just couldn't on that night.
Yeah, it's I didn't think Will Howard played particularly well in the first half. I actually think Cole Ballard might have played him in the first half. I think Will Howard got comfortable in the second half. They started using his legs a little bit more. But I mean, they did a pretty good job of limiting explosives defensively. I think they only had 2 explosive plays at K-State, the one right after the near pick 6. And then I think 1 big pass play, right?
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The early down struggles, or the early game struggles. So yeah, I mean, KU had them in a good spot, and they had pretty good control of the majority of the game, and some special teams errors. I thought like obviously the fumble punt put them in a bad spot, and but yeah, I think so many just little things kept this team from winning this game, but the gap, both sides, gap's closed, and now let's see what this team's made of, because I'm not trying to look ahead to next season, but I just can't help but be encouraged by what is happening on both sides of the ball and with this program. And I know they're going to lose some guys, but they could have a lot of dudes return back where they'll be a preseason top 25 team. Jalen Dale's back, Booker back. If Neal and Kobe and Melo and some of these guys, if they return, they're going to be a preseason top 25 team.
Yeah.
They got some dudes that are still on this team. And there's so much reason for optimism. And these are the pain points that you deal with on the climb to growth. Like you talked about, this is not a linear progression. You talked about early, right off the top. It's not easy. It's never going to be easy, but this program is not afraid of the challenge. This coaching staff's not afraid of the challenge, and no one should feel anything but confidence and belief, because look what this team's done already. I think I can't believe we're in a situation right now where this team is 2-1 score losses, 3-1 score losses away from 9-1, like 10-1, whatever it is. Like, I think they've only lost 1 game by more than a score. It was the Texas game where it was 2014 in Austin in the third quarter, whatever. It's amazing, man. I can't believe we're in the situation we're in, and I'm so happy. And it's just been so much fun to watch. And like, I know people are upset and it hurts to lose to a rival, but I'm just having a hard time being too negative.
Yeah, I agree with you in that this is still a season that can be a special season. Especially considering, 2 wins, they can become a 9-win team. That's only been done 2 other times. And then an 8-win team has only been done 7 other times. I think this is a team that deserves to have that kind of a victory, to have that kind of season. And I hope they're able to close it out in some big ways.
I want to talk about Cincinnati real quick before we get out of here. Obviously, they're a team that's not been able to win a lot of football games. They've been in some close ones too. Like people have had a hard time playing them in Cincinnati. I know Oklahoma, they had some fits, early in that game against Cincinnati. Emory Jones is an experienced quarterback. I think he's playing his last game of college football. He's an athlete, can move a little bit. So you're dealing with a mobile quarterback. You're dealing with a team on their senior night that's had some games that they probably wish they would have won. Kansas can't take them lightly. Kansas is going to have to go out and take care of business. I don't doubt they will. How this team has responded week in, week out, how this team is treated every week, with a good mindset. I think they'll go out in there, and I think they'll be able to have some success moving the football on the ground. Whatever quarterback plays, I feel pretty confident that they'll be able to take care of business. But, I mean, Cincinnati's going to give them a fight in this game. Yeah,
Cincinnati, to me, is a lot like Central Florida. They're, like, talented. Like, they have good players all over the field, good defenders. They have good offensive players. They run the football well. They were 2-6 when they hosted Central Florida. They played their tails off. So I don't expect this to be a team that is phoning anything in. It'll be a tough challenge. It'll be a night game. It'll be their senior night. So you'll have that pride and that hot start that Kansas will have to deal with. And like I said, they've got good back. They got 2 good backs. They got an experienced quarterback. They've got a physical offensive line. They've got good individual defenders. Like, this is a good team, and that's just what the Big 12 is. There is no bad teams. And Central Florida, Cincinnati will be up for the challenge. So Kansas is going to have to come out and execute. It'll be a fun challenge for them. I think they can get it done, but, Cincinnati is not a slouch.
No, Dante Corleone, problem along the interior of that defensive line for Cincinnati. Some grown man strength. One of the better interior defenders in college football. And he's a dude that you're going to see drafted pretty high. I'd say top 100 probably this year. So they got some good football players for sure. Do you see this team getting an 8-win regular season, B-Mac? Do you think that they go to Cincinnati and win?
I do. I think they go to Cincinnati and win. I think they execute. I think their physicality and matchups like that really plays to their benefit, and they can kind of control the football on the clock and make big plays in the passing game when they need to.
I'm with you. I'm lockstep. I think this is a game that, obviously the game that they just went through hurt, but I don't see this team folding. I don't see this team quitting. That's not been in the DNA of this team. That's not the DNA of the kids that Lance Leipold has brought into this program. I think you're going to see one more good performance here in the regular season. Winning on the road's hard. And yes, Cincinnati has not had a lot of success winning football games. But it's going to be an emotional night for them. It's going to be the last game for some of these kids, and you're going to get everything that you want against Cincinnati. It's a tricky game to be playing, but I still think Kansas pulls this one off. I think they get to 8 wins, and they're going to have a chance to win 9 games, which that's just, man, that's special. What a special season, man. What a special season that's been. It's been a lot of fun. That is going to do it for this week's episode of Booth Review. Thank you all so much for listening, for watching, for supporting. We hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We will talk to you hopefully after a Kansas win against Cincinnati on Saturday. That's BMAC. I'm Kit Swanson. We'll catch you later.
Peace.